Trade reports are really starting to pick up surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays, and as the deadline inches closer and closer, a brand new report has dropped revealing some big information surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays and Ross Atkins' plans at the deadline. We're going to break that down as well as discuss a few interesting updates ahead of this afternoon's game against the Athletics, which is the final game ahead of the All-Star break. But before we get into it all, folks, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Your guys' support has truly been unbelievable, so thank you guys for that as we're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Ladies and gentlemen, tough loss yesterday against the Athletics. It was an unfortunate one. We move on. We hope for a win today. Got to win the series. That'll be their a very big series win heading into the All-Star break, and that'll be their momentum, of course, heading into it. But a new article is dropped from The Athletic revealing some trade talks and some trade reports. And I want to dive into a few different trades here because we know a huge trade is incoming for this Toronto Blue Jays team. And a new article from Jim Bowden and Mitch Bannon, both reporters, Mitch of the Blue Jays and Jim Bowden of The Athletic, revealing some interesting trades. And I want to go over this because reports have come out from Jeff Passan revealing the Jays are going to be going all in. They're going to be looking for starting pitching. And there's some interesting trades and names that have been, revealed here. So 2 months ago, the Jays trade down the direction was especially unclear. Now it is clear they are going all in. And folks, let's dive right into it with the first one here. Now, again, there's a couple different ones. I'm saving one specific trade and report it till the end, but let's start with this trade. And as I go through these, let me know down below in the comment section which is your favorite, whether or not you do them. There's one in particular that correlates with some new reports as well that I'll dive into that dropped surrounding one player. But let's start with this one here. It is the Toronto Blue Jays trading Angel Bastardo and Warren Watts Brown, to the Orioles for Gregory Soto and Ramon Laureano. And of course, Warren Watts Brown is a very interesting prospect. He's been around for a while, but you're getting Gregory Soto and outfielder Ramon Laureano back in this deal. Now, this one is a very interesting one. You can see here the description basically says the Jays can fill two needs with one trade. You're getting Ramon Laureano, who mashes lefties, and you're getting Mr. Gregory Soto, who is a pretty good to at sometimes dominant lefty reliever. And this one is quite the interesting one. And let's start here with the man himself, Gregory Soto. Now, he, of course, the Jays have been linked to him dating back to 2022, 2021, his time with the Phillies. He throws very fast. He averages 96.7 miles per hour. He is a lefty, and he put up a 3.74 ERA. Now, you're giving up two decent prospects. To be honest, I'm doing this trade in a heartbeat. I'm not worried about hugging onto any prospects besides, of course, your top two guys. Everyone else is on the table for me. Laureano would instantly be the lefty masher who's still great to elite at defense. You get a guy in Gregory Soto who is elite at, of course, being, I was going to say elite at being kind of volatile. He's a pretty up and down reliever, but he's elite at what he does, which is throwing fast and getting strikeouts and avoiding barrels. That's basically what he does. Now, let's pair that with the fact that you don't have to give up a whole lot. I absolutely love this move for the Toronto Blue Jays because you pair it with the other guy you're getting back on the other end, which is Ramon Laureano. And man, oh man, does it become an interesting package. You see him this year as an 841 OPS. Primarily, he's good against lefties. An elite defender still. And his peripherals are iffy, but if you're just playing him against lefties, kind of taking over, he would take over the Davis Schneider role. I like it a lot. And again, you're not giving up too much in this deal here. And you're trading within the division, which makes it difficult. But at the end of the day, I really, really like this deal for the Toronto Blue Jays. And I'm curious to see what you guys think about it. Again, you're trading within the division. You're not giving up. Like Watts Brown's a very intriguing prospect. Angel Bastardo, an interesting prospect. Neither of which I would, hold on to if you're getting valuable pieces back. And the key thing about this deal is you're getting 2 for 1. You're getting a very solid reliever. He's not a dominant reliever, though, right? He is not a dominant reliever. He's elite at being volatile, which means he's very up and down. I don't think this is the guy they should necessarily go out and get, but his peripherals are good enough to where if you're packaging him with a guy like Ramon Laureano, you can make an argument to get that done. And I think it's a decent one. This, again, wouldn't address their starting pitching need, which I still think they're going to address in another trade, which we'll dive into now in a minute. But even making both of these trades, the two we're going to talk about here, makes a ton of sense. So let me know down below what your thoughts are specifically on that trade because Ramon Laureano is a beast, and I think he would fit very well with this Toronto Blue Jays staff, especially with their love for defense, and he is the best arm in baseball besides Addison Barger and a couple other guys. But let's dive into the one that I think is absolutely perfect if the Jays can pull it off. Alan Roden, Adam Macko for Seth Lugo. Now, there is a couple different things to go over here. I know Seth Lugo, again, he's a veteran. On paper, you might not think, okay, or at least based off your name, like in your mind, okay, this isn't the best guy. He has been really, really, really good. He throws 8 pitches. He is, you can see here, likely a rental with a 2026 player option, which again, maybe he takes it, maybe he doesn't. This is an interesting player. And let's just look at his stats here because I wanted to bring up the whole picture, not just his savant. This season with the Royals, in 101 innings, he has a 2.67 ERA. Last year with the Royals, in 200 innings, a 3 ERA. Year before, 3.57 ERA. He hasn't had an above 3.56 ERA since 2020. And even then, since he's become a starter 3 years ago full time, he has been elite, like dominant. Maybe not elite. He's been very, very good. I mean, last year, of course, a 5.4 ERA. This is the type of player that he is not going to be a guy who necessarily is a frontline starter, which I do think they ultimately need, but you're still not giving up any crazy prospects. Obviously, the headlining prospect in this deal would be Alek Manoah, who could be a very intriguing starter. I absolutely love this deal. Now, the advanced analytics don't love Seth Lugo, but I think if you're the Jays and you have a chance to get a guy like Seth Lugo, who's been dominant this year, but dominant last year and dominant the year before, and you don't have to give up Arjun Amala, Trey Savage, I think you do it in a heartbeat, because we know Jeff Passan has been coming out and talking about, trading Trey Savage or Arjun Amala for Mitch Keller and David Bednar. I think that if you can, I'd rather almost say, obviously Mitch Keller is a more valuable piece. He's younger, he's under control. You could argue he's better, but for me personally, keeping your top two prospects while also getting back a very solid veteran starter is kind of the perfect situation for me. You get a very good one back. Would the Royals do this deal? That's the big question. I think it would be perfect for the Toronto Blue Jays. And then if they want to go out and they still want to maybe put together a package for a Jacob deGrom if he becomes available, you still have the prospects to do so. And you do with both of these trades that I'm talking about today. None of these four prospects are going to be headliners in a deal for a blockbuster, trade. That's why I love it. You can see this here. Since the start of 2023, the righty is a 3.1 ERA in 75 starts. May not be an electric ace, but he can start a postseason game for the Jays and won't be as expensive as some of the other guys. 8 different pitches this year. Again, I'm perfectly happy with this deal, and I think this would be one where if you sign him, they probably extend him for a couple more years. He is 35 years old, and again, on paper, you might be thinking, wow, he's 35. He might have a down year. If he pitches to a 4 ERA the rest of the season for the Jays, which would be a worst case scenario here, I think. Again, you gave up Alan Roden, who was an interesting prospect, and Adam Maka, who's a very interesting prospect, a top 10 in their system. I think the upside is there for me. And again, I don't think this would be the only move they make in the starting pitching department, but even if it is, I don't hate it. And let me know down below what your thoughts are. Maybe I'm crazy. I obviously would prefer Sandy Alcantara. A guy I'd obviously probably prefer Mitch Keller, but not at the price. Jacob deGrom, someone electric like that. Of course, Freddie Peralta, Edward Cabrera, those guys I would prefer. But if they end up being crazy expensive, the Jays farm system finally is getting back on track. Give me this trade all day long. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Really, really want to see that one. And it seems like the Jays have been linked to a bunch of these different trades. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. A couple other things before we wrap up. Vladdy speaking out on hit number 1,000. Of course, yesterday, the Jays, very frustrating loss, but we're going to put that behind us. And he said, I'm just 26 years old to accomplish that goal at such a young age. It's big for me. To be honest, my goal is to hit 3,000 hits. That's always been my goal. And it's going to be interesting. Also, quick note as well, Mason Flaherty, who was optioned down to AAA, had a very good recent appearance. Could see him back fairly soon, a replacement of Justin Brule, depending on what happens. But folks, you guys have been an absolute beast. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this trade and, of course, this trade. Very intriguing names popping up. We're going to be having multiple videos a day, of course, as the trade deadline inches closer and closer, multiple different reports. You guys are beasts. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.